Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, what are the four diplomatic tools in the US's diplomatic toolbox since 1991? Come on, everybody. Threats, blackmail, regime change through some spontaneous, how do you call those, protest, and then the last one is bombardment and invasion. Got that? Where Slovakia is at number 3. So they got the threats, they got the blackmails, and right now are at regime change. Why? Because these guys who promote democracy only when they win. When the opposition wins, no, democracy is not good. We need to change by force, like they did, for instance, in Ukraine in 2014, and immediately recognized the new guys who got in charge through a bloody coup. People died, and they deposed a legitimate, democratically elected government. The president Yanukovych was voted. Everything was good, corrupt as it was, but nevertheless, it was legitimate. Overthrown, and the Western countries immediately recognized it and poured troops and trainers and money in Ukraine. So what's happening right now? It is Slovakia's turn. Why? Because the Prime Minister of Slovakia, Mr. Robert Fico, doesn't agree with them and agrees a little bit here and there with, may I say it, Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban. Oh my God, that's not good. If you remember, the European Union, the same. They don't like democracy when they lose, or their policies are not pushed through, which is Orban and Hungary. Hungary has the right to veto whatever proposals are pushed forward in the European Union garbage, okay? But since it can veto, these guys don't like that, which is about 50 billion euros that are supposed to be sent to Ukraine as aid, meaning weapons to kill and so on. When they say aid, don't imagine they send ibuprofen and I don't know, antibiotics and dildos. No. They send weapons too. So what's happening now? They try to, the Democrats, the guys who love democracy in the European Union, they want to strip, like striptease, strip Hungary of the right to vote. Why? Because they want unanimity. Like, across the board, 100%, we're going to push this one. And Hungary said, no, I have some questions. Why? Because they got balls and they think about their interest, national interest. Orban cares about his people. He's got some hanky-panky too, like any other politician. But overall, he stands in front and faces this garbage, the rest. And the herd is, oh, wait, what's going on? The boat is rocking. And then you got Robert Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia, said, I support Hungary in its right to, veto whatever it thinks is we cannot negotiate it. Oh, this guy started a motion, the European Union started a motion to strip it. And Fico said, I'm with Hungary. They already lost. Hungary was already in the process of these guys going to look in some hanky-panky to strip it of the rights. So, I don't like how you vote, I ban you. Like Alternative for Deutschland in Germany. It's going to be banned. The same Trump. We don't like you, we're going to ban you. You can run against us. So this is how afraid these guys are. They're not, trying to influence us with media. They lost that because of these kind of things. They lost that. Their corporate media lost the battle, so now they go straight to their judges appointed, financed by whom? George Michael. Demanding some services in that California public bathroom. That was embarrassing, man. But unfortunately, he died too early. Now, we have this article here from the New Voice of Ukraine. 25,000 rally in Bratislava, the capital of Slovakia, against Prime Minister Fico's judicial reform. So Mr. Fico thinks that Brussels is too nosy, and he said, you know what, Slovakia should be for the Slovakians, and we run our business here. No, we got an organized rally, 25,000 in January. And supposedly this is the picture from there, they say January 18th. anti-government protest. And what do we have here? A stage? What, are they gonna rock and roll or something? Nevertheless, they were here they got the media here as well. They got this protest. I am for the right of protest 100%, but I can smell a rat in there. Why? 1, 2, 3. We're at point number 3. That's why. I know how these guys operate. Most likely, these 20,000 people just organized themselves because they knew the politics and the judicial reform. Slovakia has witnessed its largest protest against Prime Minister Fico's government on January 18th, with approximately 25,000 people rallying in Bratislava to oppose Fico's proposed judicial reforms. Why don't they let the parliament do shit? Why don't they work through their elected officials? There's no ways to stop that. Let's say tomorrow you have Biden saying, we're going to send this much to this, or we're going to bomb that, or we're going to do this legally. What are you going to do? Go and protest? And that's one guy saying, like Macron with the pension reform. I make it right now. Click, signature, gone. That's the law. Everybody was like, say what? Legal, my friends, legal. And you tell me about French democracy. These guys are just a joke. The proposed changes involved abolition, the special prosecutor's office handling serious crimes like bribery, organized crime, and extremism. I made a video on this, and the problem is they have a problem with this. This is why they have a problem with this. Instead, these cases would be transferred to regional prosecutors who haven't dealt with such crimes in 20 years. So what? If they don't start, a long journey starts with the first step. So fuck off. So again, this is the argument. They haven't dealt with 20 years. Are they judges? Are they lawyers? Did they go to school? What do you mean? They don't know what to do? The problem is this. This court, garbage court, deals with extremism. And extremism, whatever is the mass media tells you it is. So if you own the mass media, you can portray this act, this person, this group, this politician as the extreme. And then they will investigate you and they're going to ban you. You're going to be illegal. Poof, in your own country. So there you have it. That's the whole point. And I said, you know what? Let's do it locally. Locally meaning what? You know who's who, what's what. It's a little bit different than at the big stage. So he wants to get organized crime. They make it look like, oh, he's for bribery, he's for organized crime, and he's for extremism. No, the last thing I have a problem with. Why? Because extremism is something that you can really say it's objective. I think you're an extremist, according to me. And besides, look at this. They make it such a big problem here in the United States of America with transgenders. How many people are transgenders here? 50% of the population? No. 25% of the population? No. 15% of the population? No. 1% of the population? I don't think so. So that's not a big problem, but they make it be a big problem. Therefore, if you say something about that big problem, you can be called this and that and this and that. Even though you say, I disagree with that. That's my right. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's... I can express... No, you're going to be labeled as an extremist. So you see how these guys are doing it? And then you have it, let's say, on a national level. You're labeled as that. They can do whatever they want with you. They're going to prosecute you. Special prosecutor, that's a special court. Locally, it's different. You might know the guys, you know, it's a community thing. I'm not saying you know it and you... No, not that. It's a different thing. It's like you know who's your neighbor, it's a little... I mean, you should at least. So I think this is what it is. These guys want more power and said, you know what, we're not going to get in this garbage. That's why it's subjective. What's subjective? Based on my assessment of subjective. But hey, some people are allowed to call others based on their perception that extremists, but those guys cannot call them extremists. So I can't, for instance, or if I call them, then I turn into something else. Phobic something, okay, or anti-something. If I say, no, those guys are extreme. The guys who call me an extreme, they are extreme with their garbage. Oy vey. But how come it works only one way? Because that's the way they do it. So I think Fico does a good job. That's my assessment. And again, who haven't dealt with this crime. What about the other guys? The other guys dealt with extremism. This special prosecutor's office. How did they start dealing with this? How long ago? 5 years? So it was a beginning for them too. It was a start for them somewhere. It was not born like God, eternal, no beginning, no end. That's the way that special prosecutor was, no beginning, no end. No, they started somewhere. It's so idiotic. Oh no, we can't do this because you've never been in a war. Well, how in the hell I'm supposed to get experience being in a war? Oh, you can't play today because you never played before. So when I'm gonna play? Like here in America, when I first came here, oh, you don't have any credit. You don't have any credit history. But if I don't start, if nobody gives me anything, how am I gonna start? You're gonna keep saying the same thing. I've been here for what? This many years? I have a job for this many years. You don't give me any. Oh, you don't have credit. Nobody gave you a credit yet. Why don't you give me, motherfucker? That's how these things we had to face here as immigrants. Good immigrants. Good. Yeah, there's some bad ones who just take advantage of the productive members of the society and the taxes and the government, which uses them then for vote. And you come here, you work hard, have a job, have a place on your own for 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years. You got money in the bank because we save. And then what's happening next? Oh no, nobody gave you a credit card. You don't have zero credit history. How in the fuck I'm supposed to start it? The same here. President Zuzana Kaputova labeled the planned reforms as, and I'm going a serious threat to the state's internal security. That's the scare tactic. Panicking people, and people are scared because they don't know shit. If you don't know anything about the subject, anyone can sell you whatever they want to make you move left or right. If someone tells these baboons here that tomorrow the Huns are going to show up at the borders and invade us, they will, and you have to, I don't know, go and give them 3% of your taxes, they will do it because they don't even know the Huns are not around anymore. For instance, or how are they coming? On their horses, on the pony horses? Is that why they're going to come? With their arrows and the bows? They don't even know shit about it. Oh, Genghis Khan is coming again. Let's get the Mongols now. Oh, he's coming again? I thought he left. Yeah, a long time ago. That's the way these guys are. So the same with every issue. If you don't know what you're talking about, it's a serious threat to the state's internal security. And people are like, oh, that sounds important. Yeah, I think so. It's a serious threat to the state's internal security, then I'm for it. I have to fight that. I'm going, go Fico down, boo, baboons. This is what these guys are. On January 11, tens of thousands of protesters took the streets of major Slovak cities. The Bratislava center square, around 20,000 protesters gathered. I've been in Bratislava a few times, chanting slogans as "Mafia, Mafia" and "Enough of Fico" or Fico. Of course, enough of Fico. Mafia, Mafia. How about extreme subjective garbage? They're gonna put you in jail. When they decide that you are an extremist, you idiots with the slogans are gonna be tossed in jail. And what are they gonna do? I didn't do anything. I'm a good person. That's what you're gonna do and say, maybe it was bad what I did supporting the garbage. Anyway, we'll see. It says Fico, and we get the nitty-gritty. Actually, to the reason why. Right here. Fico opposes support for Ukraine and its NATO membership and has announced that Slovakia would cease military assistance to Ukraine, focusing on a humanitarian aid. He also suggested that Ukraine and Russia should negotiate an end to hostilities. That's why he's at number 3, regime change point. Fico has previously propagated false Russian narratives, claiming that the war started in 2014 when the Ukrainian Nazis and fascists began killing Russian citizens in Donetsk and Luhansk and Odessa. Is that a false narrative? Are there facts over there? Is there evidence? It's a false narrative for you, but for others, they can still have access to information. They can show you. There's still videos, motherfuckers. There's still videos over there. What are you talking about? Well, they're gonna try to do like in 1984 dystopian novel, George Orwell, remember? Who controls the present, controls this, controls that, future and the past. You're never gonna know about these things. Pretty soon they will be buried so deep that when you look for something, you're not gonna find that. If you don't find it, it doesn't exist. But people like me, like you, like others, they remember. Like for right now, I'm trying to find certain videos that I knew they were over there. I knew it. I watched them numerous times that I want to use in my programs here. I can't find them. Why? Because I can't find the exact freaking name of the article or the video. Before you can say, well, I don't know, Tom Jones dances with Michael Jackson. Fuck, it comes. Tom Jones, somewhere down there, you find it. Now, you don't find it that way. How many times they danced? One time. I'm just making up shit now. But let's say they dance one. It should come straight forward. No, because it's different. Tom Jones danced with Michael Jackson in front of the ladies of the night at the Queen's Jubilee. Oh, if you don't write all that over there exactly with capital letters and all that, with a comma and dots, no, you're not going to find it. It's going to be somewhere about 50,329 down there to the list that your options come, instead of being the first one. That's how they hide it. Why? I know videos when I used to just put the keyword or the name in the context. How many times that guy had a speech in, I don't know, Bratislava, or I don't know, Michael Jackson visited Romania? One time, right? I think it was one time. So you should, when you say Michael Jackson, Romania, you should everything should come. No, it doesn't even come. You find it down there. So the same. Fico, I don't know. Let me show you where Bratislava is. Let me show you where Slovakia is. So this is the map of Europe. And here is Slovakia. Right, here is Slovakia. Surrounded by Poland in the north, Czech Republic in the northwest, in the west Austria, in the south Hungary, in the east Ukraine, and Bratislava is on the western part of the country right here by Vienna. You get Vienna immediately from there. So I traveled to Vienna, I traveled to Bratislava, I traveled to Prague, I traveled to every freaking thing. Just kidding. But anyway, so here it is, my friends. They are at regime change, I think. And things gonna get worse and worse and worse. Why? He doesn't agree with that court. Well, it's your right to protest, but I have a gut feeling that's not what really is. The threat of internal blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. And the president is a Brussels-owned weasel. Thank you, Susanna. Remember the 80s song? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.